The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 33. Wang Shi wasn't even very sure if an imperial physician can treat Master Xiao Yu's illness. Yet he couldn't go against Jing Wang's wishes either. However, Wang Gonggong was truly worthy of being called Jing Wang's close servant. After making some inquiries, he invited an imperial physician who also raised fishes at home and considered his task accomplished. Wang Gonggong brought the imperial physician into the Jing estate. This imperial physician Su has seen many bizarre and strange illnesses before. After learning that Jing Wang summoned him to look at his pet fish, the physician's expression and countenance didn't change at all. In order to make it convenient for imperial physician Su to do his examination, Jing Wang specially placed the fish in a slightly shallow flower-shaped teacup. Just now, Li Yu's fish instincts took over and he flailed around a bit, causing him to lose 2 more fish scales. Now, he no longer dared to randomly move around anymore. He used his large wet eyes to look pitifully at imperial physician Su, who was before him. This imperial physician should be able to treat fish and ensure that fish doesn't become a bald fish, right? Jing Wang, whose line of sight never left the fish. Jing Wang gave a light cough and turned the teacup, as well as the fish, in a different direction, moving the fish's head towards himself to let the imperial physician look at the fish's back. The fish's back also had some areas where scales had fallen off. Imperial physician Su carefully examined the fish, and then looked at the teacup. He had a rough idea and stepped forward to say, "Your Highness, Jing Wang, according to what this official knows, many fish won't change scales. Fish scales should grow with the fish. For a fish to lose scales, there should be only 2 reasons. It's either caused by outer trauma or because of a terminal illness." The little carp heard terminal illness and gave a slight tremble. Since he raised the fish himself, Jing Wang was pretty responsible. He immediately turned to look at Wang Shi. Wang Shi interpreted it as, "If you need any medicinal products, just let His Highness know. If Jing Estate does not have it, we will find a way to get it." Wang Shi gave Jing Wang an uncertain look. Jing Wang nodded, so Wang Shi continued to instruct, "Remember not to injure Master Xiao Yu at all costs." Imperial physician Su smiled faintly. This official understands. However, if I may speak frankly, Your Highness, your fish looks very healthy. It shouldn't be a terminal illness. Perhaps it accidentally bumped into something while swimming? After a few days of recuperating, it should get better. Li Yu. This was actually some sort of misunderstanding. Jing Wang placed the fish inside a teacup to be examined. But it ended up causing imperial physician Su to believe that the fish normally lived there and couldn't move around fully, thus bumping into the edges was unavoidable. What the imperial physician Su raised at home was a school of koi. Often they would ram into each other while fighting for food, so losing scales was pretty usual. Therefore, imperial physician Su thought the same here. However, Li Yu himself didn't feel like it was quite right. The fish tank that Jing Wang prepared for him was large enough for him to swim in. He very rarely bumped into things. If it was because he jumped around a lot and lost scales because of the impact, he should only lose scales in certain areas. Yet right now, he was losing scales all over, and losing them no matter what he was doing. He couldn't even blow bubbles. Li Yu was even more afraid to move now. Luckily, they didn't fall in large quantities, or his life as a fish would really be too tragic. The imperial physician Su's words shouldn't be the real reason why he was losing scales. Li Yu was a little disappointed. However, as long as it wasn't an illness, this was good news. Li Yu comforted himself. Maybe a transmigrated fish's body constitution was different from a normal fish. Even a huge dog like Xiongfeng lost fur all over the place. It should be normal for him to lose scales as well, right? But would his tyrant master scorn him because of this? Probably not. He was only a grey dirty looking food ingredient carp anyways. He didn't count on beauty to become favored in the first place. It was by acting cute. Was he no longer cute just because he lost some scales? Liu spent some time comforting himself, practically comforting himself into the proverbial corner. Jingwang, however, seemed to have taken Imperial Physician Su's words into consideration. The Imperial Physician was saying that Xiao Yu lost scales because the place it lived in was too cramped and small. Jingwang knew that Xiao Yu was actually a carp yao. Using a normal fish tank to raise Xiao Yu was indeed not adequate. After sending off Imperial Physician Su, Jingwang made a decision practically without hesitation. He ordered Wang Shi to come close. This time the order was somewhat complicated. Jingwang wrote it down. Reading from the side, Wang Shi's eyebrows almost flew off. By the time Jingwang finished writing, Wang Shi was practically kneeling. He said with a trembling voice, "Your Highness, this. Can this really be possible?" Wang Shi only guessed that Jingwang planned to change a fish tank for Master Xiao Yu. But he never imagined it would be this kind of fish tank. Jingwang finished writing and blew on the ink, saying, "Hurry up and go do it." Wang Shi had followed Jingwang for many years. He knew well enough that once his master made a decision, it won't be shaken even by thunder. Wang Gonggong didn't say anything anymore and scrambled out. Liu, who was oblivious to what Jingwang did. After making the arrangements, Jingwang reflexively wanted to pet this unfortunate fish's back. However, he immediately remembered that the fish was losing scales. If he touched it, it might lose even more scales. He needed to follow Imperial Physician Su's words and let the fish recuperate for a while first. Moreover, Xiao Yu was actually a carp yao. Jingwang, who didn't even blink when deciding to make a new fish tank for Xiao Yu, was now actually hesitating. When he remembered that the fish he always touched was actually a young man, Jingwang just felt somewhat hesitant to do it again. The little carp saw him extend his fingers over and swam over speedily, waiting for his touch. Yet right before that happened, Jingwang withdrew his hand again. Liu. No way. Was Jingwang really scorning him right now? The little carp, who longed for a sense of security, immediately used the tip of his tail to wrap around Jingwang's fingers. Normally, Jingwang loved this kind of contact very much. But now, his thoughts were starting to run wild. A fish's tail. Was which part of a carp yao's body again? The fish head was definitely equivalent to the human face. Then the tail, he guessed, should be the feet. A pair of delicate ankles quickly flashed across Jingwang's mind. Jingwang. Jingwang abruptly stood up, making the little carp jump in fright. The little carp evaded to the side instantly and looked at him in confusion. Jingwang realized that he had been a little too aggressive. He was afraid that Xiao Yu would notice something unusual, so he stretched out a finger as usual. Liu swam over to him expectantly, but Jingwang never touched this fish's back nor its fish tail. Jingwang gently tapped the fish's head with his finger. Liu, this again. What exactly does this mean? Although Jingwang ordered people to make the new fish tank urgently, regardless of the rush, it still needed a few days before it could be built. Jingwang can only temporarily place Xiao Yu back into the crystal fish tank. The food these days was all the best, but Liu still continued to lose scales. He didn't even dare to move too much. If he couldn't move, how could he do missions? Liu felt very frustrated. Just when the little carp thought he was really going to become a bald fish, a series of imperial edicts came from Ganking Palace. The emperor stripped all of the second prince's official positions and bestowed him the title of Marquis of An. The Marquis of An wasn't even given another estate and still remained confined within the old second prince's estate. Imperial consort Xu also decreased in rank. Because her previous confinement was never resolved, she continued to be imprisoned. The emperor gave punishments as well as rewards. On Chang'an Palace's side, Duke Chang'an's rank as duke was raised by 1. Ye Qinghuan's official position was also raised. The emperor granted the Chang'an palace and the king of Jinju the power to select the marriage date themselves, and he built a princess estate inside the imperial city for the princess of Jinju. To be able to do the above, it was evident that the emperor was resolute in his decisions. Ever since the second prince attempted to frame Ye Qinghuan, the emperor has been deliberating about how to punish him. When imperial consort Xu received the news of this in Zongqi Palace, she knelt outside of Ganqing Palace refusing to get up. In the end, she had to be carried back by servants. The emperor didn't actually see imperial consort Xu because he secretly went to Changchun Palace by himself and sat facing the memorial tablet of Empress Xiaohui for a while. The investigation had already resulted with report that the female corpse in Yanyu Pavilion was an imperial death row prisoner who had died of illness for many days. The emperor knew now that the second prince had been obviously counterattacked by Ye Shizi here. However, Ye Shizi did this in self-defense. Ultimately, it was the second prince who made the stupid mistake first. If the second prince succeeded, how were they supposed to explain everything to the king of Jinju? How come the second prince never considered the bigger picture here, or was the bigger picture something that could be sacrificed in the opinion of the second prince? The emperor didn't actually oppose it if princes schemed against each other, but not in the same scale as what the second prince did, wielding the fact that he was the future crown prince to strike at anyone and everyone recklessly. Even if this kind of person obtain the throne in the future, they won't be supported by the common people. This candidate that he once considered didn't suit the position of emperor. His previous favor toward the second prince not only inflated imperial consort Xu's ego, it also inflated the second prince's ego. But now it looks like they couldn't even handle this little favor. What's the point of considering the future? It was very fortunate that he only mentioned this thought towards a very small number of people and didn't actually officially announce a crown prince. For that scheme to fail and did not lead to a disaster, this was the best outcome. If he couldn't give the second prince the punishment he deserved, the emperor would disappoint the Chang'an palace as well as disappoint Jingwang. Even more so, he would be disappointing Empress Xiaohui. After the emperor thought it through, he sent out the edicts, not allowing any room for objection. These edicts pretty much caused a commotion in the front court and back harem at the same time. This dynasty had an unwritten rule. Princes who were prematurely given a title basically had no chance to obtain the throne. For example, Jingwang. Everyone knew that Jingwang's title of Wang was a way to appease his legitimate son. However, the second prince's situation wasn't the same as Jingwang. The second prince wasn't given the title of Wang, and only got a marquis. This was even a hasty edict from the emperor that was passed without any discussion with the Ministry of Rights. It was clear to see that the second prince completely lost the emperor's favor. The former imperial consort Xu, now concubine Xu, received her imperial edict and immediately fainted on the spot. All of the other concubines that had given birth to princes all felt flames of hope burning, especially the third prince's birth mother, concubine Jian. If the second prince was no longer capable, the next in line should be her third prince. Meanwhile, of the many officials who originally followed the second prince and thought that a life of glory and splendor were soon to be theirs, very few remained willing to continue backing the second prince. Most of them secretly searched for new paths out. In comparison to the imperial palace, where some people were happy and some were worried, the outside of Chang'an Palace was decorated with festive lanterns and auspicious banners, full of joy and peace. Ye Qinghuan and the Princess of Jinju had exchanged birth cards. The Duke of Chang'an and the King of Jinju already picked out an auspicious date for these two people. On Jing Estate's side, although the imperial edicts didn't mention Jingwang was actually also rewarded. The emperor ordered head steward Luo to bring Jingwang a suet jade box and permitted Jingwang to fill it with fish food. During the state banquet, the emperor saw that Jingwang was using a bamboo box and felt bad for him. The emperor rewarded Jingwang, but the one who ended up extremely happy was Li Yu. The emperor seemed to have custom made this new box for fish food because the surface was carved with fish shapes. Liu heard that suet jade was very expensive. To use it to make a box to hold fish food, Liu felt like his own social status had doubled. Along with the imperial edicts, what made Liu even happier was the fact that the impenetrable fortress side quest have updated. Seeing these edicts that the emperor passed down which contained rewards and punishment, Liu suddenly realized that the real conclusion to the side quest was the good will be rewarded and evil will be punished. Although he lost scales, he still wanted to obtain his mission rewards. Liu entered the system to get the reward. Back then, he didn't really pay attention to what kind of rewards the side quest had. After hearing the shitty system give a presentation, Liu's jaw almost dropped to the floor. So the reward of impenetrable fortress was an entire new set of fish scales. There were a total of 5 colors he could choose from: gold, red, green, silver, and purple. Liu abruptly recalled his recent scale loss. Was it because of this mission's reward that caused him to lose scales? Host, you're overthinking it, the system reminded him promptly. The reason you always lose scales is because normal fish scales can no longer support the intensity of your activities. Liu. The shitty system didn't hold back at all. It was saying that he was moving too much so the fish scales couldn't endure it, but clearly he didn't move that much at all. Liu, who often jumped up and down around Jingwang's room and didn't even reflect on his actions, thought. The system explained that the quality of the new fish scales were even better. After changing into them, they won't fall anymore. Liu was actually pretty happy to receive this kind of reward. The only problem was that the new fish scales looked too different from his original scales. These new shiny colors should only belong to koi, yet he was about to use them. Did this mean that he could really turn into a koi? He was just a little curious. He definitely planned to change into a human in the end. The system only said, host, you don't need to worry. Liu immediately became vigilant. Normally whenever the shitty system told him not to worry, he definitely end up being screwed over. Liu was already used to being screwed over. And this was all thanks to the fact that his tyrant master, who recently started to treat him a little distantly, had also started to suspect him. However, since the previous scales kept dropping, the new fish scales arrived just in time to be put to use. He needed to change them. System, host, please select a color and confirm your reward. These bright colors were all pretty much the same anyways, right? Liu buried his conscience and picked the gold color which was most fitting for a koi. After confirming it, he was forcibly shoved out of the system. Liu. When Liu returned to reality, he immediately looked at himself. He saw his body was still the usual dirty gray color. Did the reward not take effect yet? Liu raised his tail. With this movement, a row of fish scales fell off his tail area. Distressed, Liu thought, now it's dropping in rows. Don't tell me, the tail will be the first to go bald. He glanced at his tail for a second and was unexpectedly stunned. He saw his originally blackish-gray fish tail now reveal a smear of gold. When Wang Shi brought people over to help change the water in the tank, Liu was currently chasing his tail in circles. Suddenly, he heard Wang Gonggong breathe came rapidly. Your Highness, come look here quickly. Wang Gonggong yelled in a pleasantly surprised voice. Hearing the noise, Jingwang rushed over in a few strides. Xiao Yu raised his black fish tail that carried gold and vigorously swam around back and forth. Your Highness, this old servant has only seen koi carry gold color before. Wang Shi normally felt that Master Xiao Yu was smart, not like a normal fish. What if Master Xiao Yu was actually a koi? Although its shape didn't seem very like it. Jingwang also has never seen this kind of sight before. He carefully looked at Xiao Yu's tail. New fish scales were growing in place of the old. Some of the new scales were gold. Jingwang was well aware that Xiao Yu was a carp yao. Since it can change into a human, then changing into a koi was not anything special. Koi was also fish anyways. Jingwang immediately accepted this and calmly ordered Wang Shi to serve the fish carefully. Jingwang wasn't suspicious at all. Li Yu was surprised as well as happy. Was this what the system meant when it said no need to worry? It was rare for the shitty system to do such a good thing. In this way, the new scales continued growing. Imperial Physician Su said most fish don't usually change scales, but those words weren't absolute. Li Yu can be the type of fish that did. Li Yu's attitude towards more scales falling has already completely changed. This should be his old scales being washed out for the new scales to grow. He really looked forward to his new appearance after changing all of his fish scales. Another day passed and the entire fish already looked completely new. Although most of his body was still pitch black, his stomach and tail were mixed with large areas of gold scales. Looks like system's choice was to add color to the original base, not turning his entire body to gold like Li Yu had thought. But black and gold was still pretty impressive. Don't forget that after the main mission the Tyrant's guppy pet fish was completed, there's still a become a koi side quest waiting for him. Who knows? Maybe he'll be able to change once more. Doing his best to march towards the direction of a koi, the little carp hid under its grass blanket laughing giddily. Li Yu could be considered to have changed his whole appearance. Since Jingwang already accepted it, the people that served in the room didn't dare to discuss it carelessly. As for the other people in the Jing estate, Li Yu really wasn't worried. It's only in the inconspicuous areas of his stomach and tail that had changed to gold. Normal people were usually far away from him and hadn't even seen his original appearance before. What Li Yu didn't know was that after Jingwang saw his different colored tail, he already ordered Wang Shi to spread a unified statement within the Jin estate saying that Xiao Yu have always been the descendant of Koi. He also forbade servants from gossiping randomly. Just like this, he was able to cover everything up. Since Li Yu finished the branch mission, he started to think about the main mission again. All of his fish scales have been changed. He no longer lost scales. Yet the Tyrant Master still treated him somewhat distantly. This distance wasn't alienation, however. He can feel that his master still favored him a lot. Jingwang would still touch his head, watch him swim and often look at him silently. It's just that Jingwang was no longer willing to stroke him. But clearly he has become more impressive looking. Shouldn't an impressive looking fish be rubbed? Yesterday, the Chang'an Palace sent some books over for some inexplicable reason. Jingwang seemed to be extremely interested in these books and buried himself in the room, reading the books and even less likely to stroke him. Li Yu thought, how can he allow this? If Jingwang refused to pet fish, how can fish complete the mission? The little carp bounced and leaped out of the crystal fish tank. Ever since changing his scales, it was even easier to use his fish tail. He lightly jumped a few times and hopped into a flower-shaped teacup on Jingwang's table. Instantly, a few drops of water splashed up and got the book placed on the table wet. Li Yu. I didn't mean it. Here Li Yu finally remembered that when Jingwang read books together with him before, Wang Gonggong would first place a layer of water-absorbent cloth on the table. Jingwang would also purposely put the teacup further away from the book. However, this time fish ran out by itself, so there was no water protection in place. Therefore, Jingwang's book ended up getting wet. Li Yu was just getting a headache over how to salvage the situation when Jingwang already noiselessly pulled out a dry piece of cloth and quickly wiped dry the water droplets on the book. His dark eyes flitted to the little carp splashing in the teacup. Li Yu immediately stopped flailing. Yet Jingwang also didn't drive him away, thinking Xiao Yu might want to read the book together with him. Jingwang thought it would be too obvious to move the teacup closer, therefore, he inconspicuously moved the book towards the fish's direction instead. The little carp carefully raised its head. Jingwang was so focused. Just what kind of book was he reading? The Tyrant Master often loved reading military books and travel notes. Last time, the book that fish fell asleep reading was a military book. The little carp cleverly glanced at the title on the outside of the book. This time the book was titled, Memories of the White Snake. Liu remembered that in his original world there was something called Legend of the White Snake. What the heck is Memories of the White Snake? Liu curiously started reading this book. It was more or less about a white snake Yao who fell in love with a scholar who was passing by. She took on a human form and they became wife and husband. Liu presumed this was a mythological story. When he started reading it, the white snake and the scholar got married. The white snake revealed her identity as a snake Yao and said to the scholar in a gentle voice, "Husband, us Yao need to absorb vital essence." Liu. Reading ancient books required some effort for Liu, but Jingwang was able to read 10 lines in a glance. Liu didn't even manage to understand clearly how the white snake absorbed vital essence when the page was already flipped over in a hurry. Now it was the second night. The white snake Yao said to the scholar in a gentle voice again, "Husband, us Yao need to absorb it today as well." Liu. Jingwang flipped the page extremely quickly again. After flipping over a dozen pages like this, Liu guessed that the white snake demon had absorbed the scholar's vital essence for several days already, yet he still didn't manage to read anything about it. Finally, there was only one more page in the book. A big monk appeared and reprimanded the white snake for violating the heavenly law, then captured the white snake in a gold alms bowl. The scholar was suddenly enlightened and also became a monk. Liu, wow, now this was really kind of like the legend of the white snake? But how come there was so much content about absorbing essence and dual cultivation? Why were there so few other plots? Jingwang closed the book. Not knowing if it was his misconception, but Liu felt that the tips of his tyrant master's ears looked a bit red. Jingwang might have felt the ending of this book was not good, so he switched to a different one. Liu glanced at the title again. This time, it was a Fox Yao's Chronicles. More or less, it was also about a fox demon who fell in love with a scholar and ran into the scholar's room in the middle of the night, begging to dual cultivate. The fox demon was even more impressive than the white snake demon. There was no second night. Just the first night was a total of 20 pages. Jingwang flipped continuously 20 times. Liu secretly counted. He finally realized what kind of books they were after a while. They should be ancient romance novels. Liu laughed. So Jingwang actually read this kind of book too. No wonder he flipped through them so quickly. Was his tyrant master embarrassed? But this really wasn't anything. So what if he read it? Before Liu transmigrated into a fish, he just turned 18. Who hasn't read some little yellow books like Thieves? Jingwang was a 20-something-years-old young man. In ancient times, people already had kids old enough to run around in their courtyard at this age. So what if he read a little sex-filled books? Liu did his best to lean closer. Master, he also wants to see a Yao and the scholar doing the unspeakable. Jingwang just closed this book when he saw the peering and peeking carp Yao trying to dive headfirst into the book. Jingwang couldn't help but laugh. He gave the little carp a light flick on the head. With a splash, the little carp fell over into the teacup. In the middle of the night, Liu wanted to take advantage of the moonless and windy night to secretly do the main mission again. There was only a tiny bit left of the main mission, the Tyrant's guppy pet fish. He only needed to rub his fish mouth lightly against Jingwang's mouth. The last few days, he was either distracted by trying to save someone or because of his scales were falling off. Now it was time to pick up the main mission again. Inside the crystal fish tank, Liu quietly waited until Jingwang went to sleep and then waited until there were no longer any more movements on the bed. Some more time passed before he finally jumped out of the fish tank. The little carp was already very familiar with the path to Jingwang's bed. He arrived next to Jingwang's pillow without a hitch in his plans. Recalling how he got Jingwang's book wet during the day, yet Jingwang didn't even blame him, Liu was confident that if he accidentally got the pillow wet, Jingwang shouldn't blame him either. The little carp jumped onto the jade pillow and took aim at Jing Wang's face, puckering his fish mouth forward. He definitely wouldn't do something like this in human form because it would be too embarrassing. However, as a fish, he could be utterly shameless. Jing Wang was originally somewhat sleepy already. However, ever since finding out that Xiao Yu was a carpiao, whenever he slept at night, Jing Wang found it hard to ignore the fish inside the fish tank. He deliberately listened to the fish's movements. Especially in those days when Xiao Yu was losing scales, he'd come over to look at the fish again after it fell asleep. Now that the scale problem was resolved, Jing Wang's habit still remained, unable to be changed in such a short time. When the little carp jumped on the bed, Jing Wang was just about to fall asleep when he suddenly heard the crisp slapping sound of the fish's tail. Jing Wang's drowsiness completely disappeared. He subconsciously continued to listen. Was Xiao Yu about to do something? Would he turn into a human? The sound of fish tail came closer and closer. Jing Wang was certain that Xiao Yu was coming towards him. When the fish jumped onto the jade pillow, it actually brought along a small water droplet which landed on Jing Wang's face. The little carp was too excited so it didn't notice at all. Jing Wang didn't move at all. In the last few days, he's been secretly observing the carpiao but also ended up empty-handed. If he woke up at this time, Xiao Yu would inevitably feel awkward. Perhaps if he continued to feign sleep, he could understand this fish's intentions. He felt the moisture the other carried coming closer and closer. Chew. Heart soothed. A pointy thing speedily touched his lips. Jing Wang's breathing instantly halted for a moment. All of a sudden, he realized what it was. The stories that he read during the day about the Yao and the scholars, especially those segments of words that he read super fast, completely turned into all sorts of vivid and detailed scenes which poured into his head continuously. The white snake Yao and the scholar, the fox Yao and scholar, all turned into this irksome carp Yao and himself. The room wasn't particularly hot but Jing Wang found himself covered in a thin layer of sweat, stiff all over, heart scalding hot. He also didn't know why he became like this but he laid there half helplessly, half expectantly, as he waited for the carpiao to take another step forward. However, what happened next, was that this carpiao only happily and cheerfully turned around and jumped back into the fish tank. Jing Wang was absorbing vital essence for a carpiao, this easy to complete? End chapter.